Mic check. Life check. With Haley Jensen. Welcome back. Today we are talking about the 4 a.m. club. No, not the 5 a.m. club. Obviously, it's not that deep. The 4 a.m. club is an hour before the 5 a.m. club. As for the 5 a.m. club, though, there is a book, an audiobook that I haven't listened to. I did reserve it once, but then I didn't listen to it quick enough, and so it got returned. It was through the library. Anyway, how did I become a 4 a.m. clubber? Well, we were talking about working out, of course, not going to the club. The 5 a.m. club used to be what I did. It was just kind of circumstantial with how I wanted my day to look and lay out. And so I went to the gym, wake up at 5 a.m., probably get there around 5:30 or so, just to get my gym routine all done. This was before I had my baby, and so it worked out very well. I was able to get that done, mock out my workout for the day, have the gym endorphins give me a little high for the day, which was super nice. And then I would be able to spend the evenings with my husband. And so keep in mind, this is when I was working. And so I would come home from work, and then that way we would be able to spend the evening and eat dinner and everything together. And so anyway, that worked out very well. And my husband at that time, he would go in the afternoon to work out after he got off work. We were never at the gym at the same time, even though we could have been, but it was just kind of a personal preference. Fast forward, me being the encourager that I am, told him, you should really check out going to the gym in the morning. It's a lot less busy, because he'd always come home, complain how busy it was in the afternoon. Mostly high schoolers, they would like to go to the gym all together and hang out and socialize, I guess, instead of working out, but to each their own. I told him, like, hey, you should check out the gym. And he's like, no, I would hate that. That's, oh my gosh, too early, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, well, give it a chance. Let's try it for a week or two, because as most people know, you have to actually commit. And I like to refer it to as the new job phase. Anytime you start a new job, everything's super overwhelming. You don't know where anything is. Your body's really uncomfortable. It makes you just nervous all around. So same concept with the gym. So I told him, I was like, no, you got to stick it out. So of course, I think the worst thing that's going into this for him, because I was there in the morning when I started to give this a try. He had actually gone to the gym the evening previous to him starting that morning, because back then he was a lot more, even more gung-ho, I would say, for the gym than he is now, and he still is, but yeah, didn't really think about that. And I had him wake up at the same time as me. We both went to the gym. The entire time he's just yawning and yawning, which is very understandable. Struggled, of course, because he had worked out only less than 12 hours previously, and so he was kind of dying. Overall, he stuck it out. Fast forward about a week later, and he was just like, no, you're right. And so then he fell in love with the 5 a.m. slot, which of course was kind of fun because we both were there at 5 a.m. and we would do our own routines, etc. We wouldn't be doing the same things 9 out of 10 times. Maybe we'd join up to walk on the treadmill for a bit at the end or whatnot. We had a good thing going. Okay, then of course I get pregnant, and which didn't affect the gym routine, because naturally I did want to stick it out for a while, as long as I could, with working out while being pregnant, because of course that's going to be good for fitness, yada yada yada. And so it went well, and the longer and further I had gotten into the pregnancy, of course you get significantly bigger, things get a little harder, you get more exhausted. I was able to do my full, I'd say, fitness routine up until about probably 25 or 30 weeks into the pregnancy, and then it kind of just turned to, okay, I'm going to walk on the treadmill. And the reason for that being is that, first off, my husband's job pays for our Vasa passes. That's the gym. Go Utah, of course. I would have to get scans and getting into the gym just to prove that I was going, so that they continue to reimburse us for the gym pass. And so it was more at that point into the pregnancy where I was like, no, I have to get my scans in, which is actually really funny, because I'll tell you in a second. But anyway, so that was just kind of the main point of me going to the gym, I'd say. It made me feel good, I guess, about myself as well, because I was just like, no, I'm going to the gym. I am walking on that treadmill, and then I'm coming home. And so I'd get my steps in, which is great, of course. The funny part that I'll jump to, I guess, is I ended up going over my pregnancy 41 weeks in a day, which if you have been pregnant yourself or know someone that has been pregnant and how they feel towards those last weeks or so, yeah, 41 weeks in a day was not ideal. A lot of women opt for induction for around 38 weeks or 39 weeks. I was very determined just to have the baby as naturally as possible. That will be another episode, I'm sure, just birth story, all that. Was approaching these last weeks and still going to the gym every day. Every weekday, not on the weekends. Yeah, it was very entertaining as a very pregnant woman waddling into the gym, I should say. I think it got to a point where there was a couple people that were there at the same time, and they were just kind of like side-eyeing me, like, she is still here. Not that they knew how many weeks I was or whatever. But I did have a really good friend at the front desk. Shout out Leland. He doesn't work there anymore, so good luck finding him, I guess. But anyway, so it was really fun to talk to him, though, each day, because he was just like, you're still here, no baby. I had my baby. Of course, you have a bit of time for recovery. Then, once I felt confident enough where I could get past the 6-week recovery and get into working out again, I was like, okay, well, I guess I will be going in the afternoon, because my husband, after he took his paternity leave, he was still keeping to his 5 a.m. schedule. Well, now that we have a baby, you cannot leave the house unless somebody's with the baby. And so one of us was going to have to give up that morning slot. I was like, well, it makes more sense. Like, I'm obviously not going to wake up even earlier, because that doesn't make sense whatsoever. So naturally, it made sense for me to go in the afternoon. And I did that for a period of time. I would say it's probably up to 9 months or so that I had gone in the afternoon. Maybe it wasn't that long. I don't know. It sounds about right, though. Anyway, but the workout process, I guess, getting back into things, started super slow. Once again, back on the treadmill, just kind of breathing through. But the difference of breathing with a baby inside you and not, immensely different. Your organs are crushed when you have a baby inside you, and so breathing is really hard. But when you do not have a baby inside you, it's wonderful. Anyway, so started slow, and thankfully it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Like, compared to the last week of pregnancy, the energy surge that I had, being able to just work out a little easier, immensely, it just felt wonderful. But one of the main reasons that it was my workout schedule was in the afternoon was because my husband would be able to come home, obviously watch the kid, and I would be able to go. And around this time, it made a little bit more sense too, because by this time of day, my baby would be pretty sustained when it came to food, milk, whatnot. And so it would be a good time for me to leave, especially because until the about 6-month mark, he would wake up pretty sporadically, because once again, if you're around babies, they feed from every 2 hours or every 4 hours if they're doing a little bit longer stretches overnight. And so I had to be there because I am breastfeeding. And so I would be the source of milk and sustenance for this baby. And so that's kind of the situationally how I ended up in that spot anyway. So eventually, once that kind of changed, I just kind of got tired of, one, battling the very crowded and chaotic gym in the afternoon. 2, not being able to spend a lot of time with my husband, because he would get home, whether 4:30 or so, and I would jet off, go to the gym, get back around 6, very quickly shower, and my husband's a sweetheart. He's the best cook in the world. Literally, I don't say that just because he's my husband. He very commonly beats out bougie restaurants when it comes to the things he can make. But that's another episode. Very blessed to have him. Super talented chef. He could easily open his own restaurant if he wanted to, because he is just that good. Anyway, he would be a sweetheart. I would jump into the shower as quick as I could. He would have dinner already ready for me. We would pretty much snarf it down. And then my baby would be going to bed immediately, because we were eating at 6:30 latest, and my baby goes to bed at 7. And so it was a little hectic, because especially with my husband then waking up at 5, it was a huge priority for the two of us to get sleep. And part of my whole ideology is getting 8 hours of sleep. Obviously, that's a very typically self-proclaimed thing of get 8 hours of sleep, but I abide by that, especially because not every night is a perfect night's sleep. So if you're waking up or having issues throughout the night, then you at least will be getting some sleep versus if you are starting at 5 hours and getting even less. It was very important, especially for both of our health, especially for my husband, especially when he's at work, he has mental clarity, that he was getting this 8 hours of sleep, especially when he was waking up at 5. And so that soon changed once I was less, I guess, depended on by my baby, where he was sleeping through the night now, and I wouldn't have to be with him every 4 hours to feed him. I kind of looked at things and I was like, okay, well, I know what time he wakes up now. And so because of that, I began to explore the 4 a.m. club. I thought of it this way. If I wake up even earlier, call me a lunatic, whatever, I would have my evenings free. I would be showered for the day. I wouldn't have to worry about rushing to go to the gym, showering, eating, barely having time as a family. And something to keep in mind was I was the one initially that liked getting up early to go to the gym anyway. Obviously, if you've been listening, my husband did not steal that slot from me. It was situational for what worked best for all of us. So a week or so thinking about this went by, and I started talking myself into it more and more because I was like, it would make so much more sense. I would not have to stress about what's happening at home like I did when I went in the afternoon with if my baby needed me, if he was stressing out my husband, if he was having a tantrum, because of course babies do like their moms, even if they love their dads, they always will love their moms more, usually. And this way, I would be able to work out in peace, be able to be home in time, and not have to miss any bit of the afternoon family time and wonderful evening hours that we had together. So of course, I told my husband, and he thought I was crazy. But keep in mind, what I'm about to say will make us sound a little crazier, I will say, because we go to bed at 8 p.m. We tell friends, neighbors this, and they think we're insane. I understand, don't get me wrong, like, I understand the need to decompress after you put the kids to bed or whatever, to watch your favorite shows as a couple. I get that. I do. And funnily enough, we still do both of those things. Like most people, we usually have a TV going during the day. Whether for me, for my child, we kind of did this, I did this intentionally, so much that he won't be an iPad kid and he won't care if the TV's on. It's kind of the same concept as having junk food in the house growing up. I did not, and so whenever I had the opportunity for chip soda, whatever, I was all over that. My husband had the opposite. He had junk food in the house available to him all the time growing up, and naturally he doesn't really care for it. So we have a great little best of both worlds parenting style here, and we kind of let things be good and give access to the things that are fine and great and normal to watch for the kids. Obviously, if it's something concerning or something we don't want to watch, then he sees that, we won't watch it. But of course, our favorites, whether it's The Office, How I Met Your Mother, and of course, like most parents, Bluey. Oh, sweet Bluey, how we do love you. As most people that watch Bluey could tell you, it was made for the parents, not the kids. The show is a tearjerker at times, emotional target, and knife right to the heart. Bluey is a wonderful show. But back to the point is we still enjoy watching our favorite shows together, whether that's eating dinner together, and I'm sure there's many people that have thoughts of maybe it's tacky, whatever. I don't care. If people are chewing, no one's talking. So might we all enjoy something that we could watch as a family? And then even after I put my baby to bed, that's 7 o'clock. And if we go to bed at 8 o'clock, I come down and I still have another 45 minutes. We can watch an episode of something together. A lot of the times we'll both read books. If need a little bit of scrolling on my phone time, great. But usually it is just either reading books or watching something together. So yeah, it works out very well. And because going to bed at 8, well, do the math. If I wake up at 4, that of course is my perfect 8 hours. So it actually works out very well. Will I say that I'm asleep at 8 p.m. on the dot every night? No, but 9 out of 10 times I'm very sleepy by then, and I am. So enter waking up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym and be there by 4:30. It obviously was a little bit of a transition I'd say the first 2-3 days, and not for the reason you think. Quite honestly, it's because I set my alarm, and it's just one of those times where you're just anxiously awaiting your alarm to go off. And so I must have woken up like 10, 15 times throughout that first night. Like, oh, is my alarm gonna go off? Is it 4 a.m.? Am I gonna miss it? Like, I was just very determined to having success with this new operation. And speaking of alarms, I will say if you have any desire to wake up, whether 4 a.m., 5 a.m., wake up in general at any time. My biggest life hack is a sunrise alarm clock. I know you've probably heard about it on social media for years now. And I'm not referring even to the Hatch one because I don't have the Hatch sunrise one. I have the Philips one from Best Buy, and it's ginormous, I think, compared to the Hatch one. And the Hatch one, I honestly have never been around one. I can Google and kind of just look at videos, I guess, of it. It does the same concept, but mine is very bulbous, I would say. Very large, oval, it has a hole in it. It creates a beautiful mimic of the sunrise, sunset, whatever you want to program for it. And when I tell you, it works so well. I would stake my life on, if you don't think you're a morning person and you decide to get a sunrise clock, I will be very doubtful if it doesn't work for you. And the settings that mine's set for is, I think it's like, it starts waking me up. I know you can have it do a gradual wake up. You could do it for 40 minutes gradually. You could do it for 10. I'm pretty sure mine is just 5, and it still works really well. So it will gradually get brighter and brighter until for 5 minutes, and which is pretty quick, obviously. I purposely did that because why would I want it to wake me up any earlier than 5 minutes before I need to get up? Just because of it being 4 a.m. Of course, if I was setting this for much later, 9 a.m., whatever, then maybe I'd do that. But quite honestly, I think the sun would be up and you wouldn't need the sunrise aspect, but that's another thing. So I would say if you consider yourself not a morning person and there's nothing that you could fathom to be done about it, maybe look at a sunrise clock, because it was absolutely game-changing for me. And the next follow-up question, if you sleep with somebody else in your bed, does it bother my husband? No, it does not. I have asked him multiple times, and the funny thing is about the settings on it is that you can have it do a sunrise noise, or you can do music, or you can do an alarm. You can do things with it that when it reaches the top of the 5 minutes, then it progressively gets louder as well. I have never needed to because I end up shutting it off before it even gets to the final 5-minute mark when it's the brightest, because it naturally wakes me up very casually and comfortably. So it works out very well. Like I said, not sponsored, but I can tag the one that I use, and I can tag the Hatch one too if you want to look at that, but I use the Philips one. So now that we are up and awake, another life hack for getting yourself out the door and being successful at 4 a.m. is make sure you choose your clothes the night before. I know we've all heard it. It's an easy concept, but once you get it into your routine at night, super helpful. I think about the next day. I look at the weather and say, hey, am I in the mood of wearing shorts, leggings? How are we feeling? Look at the weather, and then based on what day in my workout routine that it is, if it's back and bicep, chest and tri, shoulder, abs, whatnot, that will dictate what I wear as well. Like for leg day, there's specific machines that I'll use, and it will be whether I'm wearing leggings or shorts kind of thing. So that is something as well to be successful. I pick out my outfit the night before. This way I just wake up, go to the bathroom, throw on my clothes, and go grab my water bottle. So for me, that is a Zip Fizz. Zip Fizz is the ADHD life hack for me specifically. If you're not familiar with Zip Fizz, you can find it at Costco, order directly online through them. I don't know why. I have tried in the past, and like I said, I will do a full episode on my ADHD journey. But energy drinks do not work for me. I've tried pre-workout one time with stimulant. I was going insane. I was so itchy. Never again. Non-stim, whatever we could try, which I haven't, to be honest. But I am just happy with what I do because I believe the person I am has enough energy naturally to work out, enough motivation, I guess. I don't know. I don't totally understand people that do need pre-workout, but I to each their own, I guess. So I grabbed myself a Zip Fizz. Favorite flavor is blue raspberry. Ones that are up there as well for me is pink grapefruit and pina colada, but usually it's blue raspberry. So I mix up one of those, put it in my blender bottle, which love blender bottles. They are and will always be a supreme water bottle. I understand they don't have insulation, so they don't hold temperature super well, I will say. However, they do hold like ice for a long time, so it's never been a problem. Like, I end up finishing my drink, and usually there's still a little bit of ice left, so not a huge problem. Like, obviously, if you're looking for a Hydro Flask or Hydro Jug, I'm trying to think of all the hydros, Odwalas, whatever, you can stick with those. Another spoiler part for me is that I'll probably end up doing an episode on is I don't like drinking water. I'm really bad at it. I always need like a mix-in, and so Zip Fizz is always at least just once a day, based on caffeine content and daily vitamins and whatnot. I think you can have 2 a day, but not that you can or cannot, but that's usually how I start my morning. So, and then something that I'd always heard is that with starting your morning that you always want to get protein into your body as soon as possible. I am aware that protein is best in food form. However, I, like many others, drink my protein, which is, of course, our favorite Utah hoarding Fairlife. The chocolate Fairlife protein drink from Costco, which is always either overstocked or out of stock. There's no in between. But I drink one of those every single morning. So right when I'm about to leave for the gym, I make my Zip Fizz, I grab my protein drink, I start drinking that, and then I am out the door. So the other weird fun fact about me is I actually go to 2 different gyms, both Vassas, but based on where I live, I can go to 2 different ones. They're equal distance. And I don't know if this is like my psycho killer trait of mine that I do this, but I, depending on the day and my workout, will go to one or the other based simply on how the gym is formatted, like set up, because one of them is more desirable for me than the other for specific workouts. One of those being chest and tri and back and bi. I go to one gym, and then the other one is shoulder and abs, and leg day is on the other one. Especially leg day. This is kind of what started the separation of the two, I guess, for where I would prefer to go work out, was specifically leg day, because one gym is set up so much better than the other one, because it's all in one area for the most part. The other gym, it's like lengthily across the gym, and then I feel like that the other gym is, or the bad setup leg day gym is always busy, even if I do leg day on a different day. So like, it's not Monday, Wednesday, Friday for me. And for working out specifically, I'm very strategic when it comes to lining up working out, how I feel, and where I am cycle syncing wise. I'm very strategic when it comes to that sort of thing. So my days aren't always Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I cycle through my workouts, getting done when I need to, whenever I need to, kind of thing. But the one thing I will say with working out / driving for 420-ish at this point, it tends to be cooler throughout the entire year, because in the winter it's cold, and in the summer there's no sun out. So even if it's like mildly warm outside, it's still a little cold. It feels like, even if it's in like 50 degrees. Make it make sense, I don't know. Anyway, so that's the one thing, is that for another life hack of mine is, and then once again, I will do a full episode on the fact that I feel like I am slightly OCD in my own ADHD way, but whenever I go anywhere, I immediately, when I get home, have to wash my hands. First thing through the door, I have to shed any clothing that is considered outside clothing. So this doesn't make much sense, I know, but I specifically have a flannel and a jacket that I will deem my gym travel jacket. So anytime when I leave the house, this part doesn't make too much sense, but it makes sense to me. In the morning, because it's cold, I will put on said flannel, and because I want to be warm in the car. And it's my gross gym jacket, and I'm sure it's not that gross, but I throw it on because I know, well, I'm only getting dirtier from here. That sounds weird, but it's true. So I get to the gym, and then I immediately, for my first bit of my workout, will go do stair stepper for 5 minutes to warm up, get my heart rate up. And by the time I'm done with my 5 minutes, I've taken off this flannel by minute 2 or 3. It works out really well. So then, fast forward to the end of my workout, put my jacket back on, this flannel, because now I've used a couple machines. My workout clothing that I'm wearing has been leaning on machines that may or may not have the cleanliness factor going on for them. I don't like to worry about it because then I don't want to think about leaning my gross body on my car, like sitting on my car. So I just throw that jacket back on. Weird concept, but that's what I do. And it's probably strange because I know when I get home, I hang up my gross jacket to wear tomorrow and do it all again. It's probably not that gross. That's a funny thing. But anyway, so then, because I will come home and immediately shower. And then I'm all clean for the day, new clothes. So that is the psychological way I function at 4 a.m., I guess. Continuing, obviously, I told you the nitty-gritties of clothing wear for me when I'm actually at the gym and arriving and doing the workout and trying to make my gym experience pristine. Number 1, welcome, you're here. Listen to podcasts. Podcasts are the best. To each their own, of course. Some people will be like, I could never, I need the pumping rhythm beat of high energy music to get me going or get me through my workout, which, don't get me wrong, I've been there before. My problem is that I have ADHD, so I am that person when you ride in the car that wants to be on aux, but will only listen to the first 30 seconds of each song or until the chorus is over or whatever. I just constantly need my next jump of a song, I guess, jumping into each song. That doesn't work out super well because I find that half the time I will be between a set and just trying to search for my next song, which in all honesty wastes a lot of time when at the gym because I have this very quick turnaround of a morning gym routine. I have no time to spare. And so enter podcasts. I love them because you never know what's going to come next, just unless you've listened to this podcast before. And so, not mine, but any podcast. And so it works out really well for me because it keeps me very entertained. I feel like I'm working out with a friend. Chances are I'm learning something. I don't know. It's just a little bit more comforting to me. I don't know why. It helps me get lost in the workout. I don't have to focus on using my brain because somebody else is using their brain and they're talking for you. It's great. It ends up working out really well for me. So the other thing is I did mention that my workouts are very short and I only have a little bit of turnaround time. Well, for, I guess, mom hacks, dad hacks that are going home to be the stay-at-home parent, something that has worked out well across social media, of course, and very famously and well-known are walking pads. Well, towards the end of my pregnancy, I actually got a walking pad. Spoiler alert, I did not use it, because I had to go get my scans at the gym, if we were listening. And so when I first had gotten it, I just was like, yeah, this is a great idea for snowy days or rainy days when I want to get my steps in. I can still get my steps in. Well, funnily enough, I didn't use this walking pad for probably about a year or so until I life hacked my life a little bit better. And I kind of came up with this routine and I still needed to get steps and some sort of cardio in. So I would go to the gym, come home, let my husband leave to go to the gym because of course I don't want to ever interrupt kind of his flow. And so he would be leaving at 5:30. And so I'm getting home then. And so that way I'm still home with the baby. However, I can keep working out if I want to. So I would go upstairs and yes, I told you kind of the story, my flannel wearing, etc. And so I would still be wearing my same gym clothes and that way I don't have to worry about getting sweaty again or showering. So I would literally just go upstairs and I specifically have some shoes that are brand new and clean for this walking pad or treadmill because I'm very OCD in that way too. Our house is a very shoes off house. And so that way I put those shoes on and then I just walk as long as far as I need to. And then I can come shower after. But that's the funny thing about me is that I could walk and walk and walk for days. Inside, outside, wherever. I have never been a runner. I want to so bad. I see these girls running on TikTok and I would love that to be me. To be honest, have never tried. So inspirational am I, except for the few times, I guess, in childhood for PE or whatever when they make you run. And I just always hated that. So I guess that's why I've never attempted to do it. But the same people, like I have a couple friends that like did cross country growing up, and they said, yeah, I hate it. That's why I do it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I understand, to each their own. We all pick our poison or whatever, but it's very admirable to me because I think it's one of the most athletic things ever. I will never run a half marathon in my life. I quite honestly think my heart would burst. That, and I'm super sweaty. I'm a sweaty person. It's funny though, because my husband does not believe that to be the case, because when we did work out a few times, he would always be dripping in sweat. And I think it was just based on the workout, I guess. I don't know. And he's just like, you don't sweat. I'm like, no, you have not seen me at dance before. My performing group, as any person listening that was a part of it knows, during rehearsals, oh my gosh, it was worse than a sauna in there. They'd have to open the doors and get some ventilation in there, and there was still, the walls were wet with just the humidity or whatever based on everyone sweating. It was nasty. And we live in Utah too, which is like very low humidity, so it's kind of gross. But yes, naturally, I don't think I will ever be a runner. I'm low-key scared of running. I've also heard the horror stories, and I'm kind of low-key scared of runner's face. That's what I've heard it is. That you lose your butt. I don't want to lose my butt. That sounds weird, but you know, the fat on your butt makes it a little shapely. But if you're a runner, you lose that pretty quickly. Injuries, I feel like I already have knee problems. I swear, I will do nothing. I'll just be going up the stairs and my knee will just give out. I'm like, what the heck? I did not do anything. I am aging or adulting or something. I roll my ankle a lot too. Managed to injure myself without being a part of anything these days, sports teams wise. And so I feel like I would definitely injure myself. Shin splints, I'm fearful of those. But if you are a runner and you think that you can change my mind, please feel free to DM me. Give me inspiration. I don't know. I see people at the gym running on treadmills, and I'm like, oof, they're like so majestic, you know? I wish that could be me. Terrified, but whatever. Actually, now that I think of it, there was like 2 or 3 times when I was pregnant of all times in my life, that I was walking my dogs, but the way that I walk my dogs is I have a Lululemon belt bag around my waist, and then I clip a carabiner to the belt bag. But keep in mind, I wear it reversed. I look kind of weird, I'm sure. And so I have the opening bag part on my back, and then just like the strap around my belly. And so I carabiner my dog's leashes, because I have 2 dogs, on these bungee leashes, and it works out really well. But anyway, so when I was pregnant, I was walking them, and it was like a nice day. It wasn't like sunny or anything. It was like kind of overcast, and I don't know why, but I don't know, I was just kind of in the mood to run. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And keep in mind, I have 2 like cattle dogs. They're very well known as they look like Bluey and Bingo, pretty much. They both have healer in them, the border collie. They both, let me think what else. Australian cattle dog, border collie. One has Akita, and then the other one has Cocker Spaniel and Bulldog, which don't think that the dog looks like a Cocker Spaniel or Bulldog. It just makes him like a little smaller and then more like buff looking. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, I'll have to upload a picture of him, which I will. So check out the Instagram, please. Hit me a follow. Like the photo. So yeah, go stalk my dogs. But anyway, so I don't know why. I was just walking with them, and just that day was like, all right, I'm in the mood to run. Let's have these high energy cattle dogs get a little run into. And so anytime I have, air quote, run them, they get excited. They're like, oh yeah, let's go. Like, and they're good at long distance, and that's why I think they're just like kind of the perfect dogs in general, because I will walk and walk and walk with them. Now stroller walks, and they love it. They are super good at the long distance thing. And so it's worked out really well. But with that being said, when I do walk my dogs, it is very dependent on the weather, especially if it's too hot, too cold, rainy. It's kind of annoying to try to walk the dogs even after it rains, because we'll walk on the pavement, of course, every now and then, or the street. And if it had rained recently, their paws will pick up like the dirt and the water combined, and it like flicks onto their stomach. And then you got 2 dirty dogs, and that is not fun. So I try to get my walking in with them during the day, but depending on the day, we rely on the good old walking pad. But as for the other secrets to my success, I wear a watch so, like, religiously. I would say I'm married to my watch just as much as my husband. I'm always wearing this thing. It's a Google Pixel, I don't know if it's just the 1 or 2 or whatever, but I use it specifically because Google Pixel, and I think that either they own Fitbit or they just cooperate with Fitbit. I don't know. But it has Fitbit software, which is really fun because I just track all my steps on it. That's just one of the best ways I'd say for anyone, just to keep an eye on their fitness and make sure they're getting all their steps in. Obviously 10,000 a day is the general, but even I would say 8,000, or just depending on your fitness goals. But yeah, definitely love my Fitbit watch. I will sleep with it on too, so usually I charge it if I'm like showering or something like that. And it will do my sleep tracking, and it just tells me how well I've slept overnight, and overall I love it. I would recommend any sort of sleep tracking anything to anyone. I have heard a lot about the Aura rings, or I think it's called superhuman rings. Definitely would be interested in the Aura ring or superhuman ring, which I think the superhuman one doesn't require a subscription, but the Aura ring does, which is such a turnoff. You'd think that, like, once they got whiff of that people don't want their product purely because it requires a subscription, they would change that. I guess if you really want it, you'll pay for it, I guess. I don't know. I would be interested in the superhuman rings. Actually, I want to look that up real quick. Okay, I'm kind of joking because it's actually called an ultra human ring, not a superhumans. But the one that I was looking at generally is $349, which, sponsor me. I'll let you know how that goes if you'd like. But yeah, I think that'd be super cool if it can track all of your health metrics. Let me see, I'm not diving too deep here right now, but basically that it'll help you with tracking your cycle as a female. Definitely super helpful and dictates how I plan my life these days. I really kind of regret not learning more about the female human body sooner than I did. Obviously I was familiar with getting a period and whatnot, but not how, like, the physical cycles of your luteal phase and ovulation affect your everyday life. It's very significant with how it affects your just emotions, of course, and just how much energy you'll have based on what day it is for you. I think that'd be super cool to be able to track that. As for the ring wearing part, I wear my wedding ring very religiously. I actually never take it off, and I do go semi-annually to get it checked, and so apparently that's okay, because I kind of heard stories like, oh, you need to take your ring off to shower. I never do, but I've never had any issues with, like, loose diamonds or anything. I have a billion little ones and then obviously one big one, but they always check it in, and I've never had an issue. So for wearing this bad boy, I can't see if it's waterproof or anything. I'd assume so. Maybe not. Yeah, it'd have to be, because I wouldn't want to take off my ring to wash my hands. I feel like it has to be waterproof. Whatever. We'll look it up later. So ideally, yeah, I'd be super interested in wearing one of those rings. I think it'd be really cool to see how the difference, maybe even of tracking versus a watch. The watch is really obnoxious though, because I have a massive tan line from this watch. It's frankly embarrassing. I feel more comfortable wearing it. I know a lot of people, or girls or whatever, want to make fun of wearing a ring or the watch to a wedding. If it was my wedding, I understand. If I was in bridesmaid pictures, I would understand. But if I'm just a patron, I don't care. I will be wearing my watch because the tail line is more atrocious than wearing the watch. That being said, I love it. I love tracking my workouts. I usually just do the strength training. That's what it is. It's kind of an open strength training tracker, but then which measures your heart rate when you're in the zone. That's how it measures it. For how high your heart rate is. And then I usually use the walk function when I'm walking outside with the dogs or stroller. I use the treadmill function. And of course you can, this watch is waterproof, and so you can go swimming and stuff with it, which is really cool. Like I said, not sponsored any of this. If anyone would like to sponsor me, feel free. We are in the early stages of podcasting, so if you're listening to this without ads, you're welcome, because she ain't sponsored. So if you want to give me a 5-star, I'd appreciate that. So, of course, I mentioned how, depending on the day, depending on what phase I'm in of the menstrual cycle, I will specifically dictate whether I'm working out like what day I'm working out or if I'm not working out. Depending on the day, there's days where it's just like, no, I need to be in recovery. Like even my watch overnight will give me a grade of the day. It's not like an A, B, C. It gives me out of 100. And so like if I'm at like a low 40, I'm like, nah, your girl needs to sleep in. And I can tell every cycle, every month, it literally lines up with the luteal phase, and I just get weaker and weaker. My recovery, even if I didn't do anything that day, like my body says, you need to take a chill day. You need to not overwork yourself. And it's just remarkable. I think that it's just really important for girls to learn this and not overwork themselves. Like we're not guys in the fact that they have a 24-hour hormonal clock and ours is 28 days. And so there's resets every single day and they get the same energy, and it's really exhausting because we're told, like, I feel like as people, adults, whatever, go work out every day, work out. Like, even if it's just 5 days a week. Well, that's not really realistic for females because our energy and, like, even the weight that we can lift is lessened. Like, we are physically weaker during luteal phase, and that's very frustrating because you can have all these goals and track your PRs and whatnot, and you're just gonna feel like you're failing. But in reality, it's your hormones and nothing that you can control. So on a similar note of making sure to take the time for recovery, honestly, this was pretty recent. About a month ago, I mandated something we like to call in this house Sleepy Fridays. It's not that deep. We sleep in on Fridays. So, and it ended up working out surprisingly well. When first introducing this to my husband, he, like I had mentioned earlier, he is a very gung-ho go-getter when it comes to the gym, and just sleeping in is a definite no for him. He will not miss a day for anything, quite honestly. And so telling him, hey, on Friday mornings we're just gonna sleep in, was, at first I was thinking it was gonna be not well received. But then he's like, no, I think this is a good idea. I would like to restructure my workouts and make it so he can have successful 4-day workouts instead of 5 days. And a big part of this for him, as well as not just me, but him, was that even though we have beautifully set up this kind of workout routine where we're able to hang out at night, it does become quite repetitive. And so when you only have the weekend to recuperate, I don't know, it doesn't feel as satisfying, I would say, to enjoy the weekend. And so we came up with Sleepy Fridays so that we could kind of have a additional Friday night, but it's Thursday night, where if we want to stay up a little later, if we want to watch a show, we can do that. We don't have to worry about not getting our sleep because we'll be able to sleep in a little bit. Yeah, we have done this for a couple weeks now, and it has been wonderful. Sleepy Fridays are the best. So not saying you necessarily should be doing this, but it's definitely been beneficial for us. Part of it is that we all have this ideology is that we have to do things a certain way. We have to work out 5 days a week kind of thing. And so my favorite thing of late is just kind of re-looking at life a little differently, at least attempting to, just to make sure that we're happy, we're healthy, we're enjoying life, and we're not just working our nose to the grindstone. It just kind of reminds me of one of my favorite shows is Emily in Paris. And if you are familiar with the show, one of the Frenchmen, Luke, he says, Americans, you work to live, or live to work, and then the French work to live. So they want to enjoy their life, but they have to pay for it, versus Americans that we live our lives surrounding ourselves, desiring to work and work and work and work. So obviously I see both sides of it, but trying to live a little more French, I guess, around here. That being said, I think it's also really important I mentioned the walking 10,000 steps earlier. I saw a really cute TikTok actually the other day of a girl. I think she was in her early 20s. She was saying how she just yearns to be a mom because she wants to go on hot mom walks with her baby, which I think that's so cute. And now that I am living that life slightly, I get it. I think part of it has to do with having dogs as well, though. I feel like if it was just me and my baby, I'd be a little unnerved, but because I have 2 dogs that flank this, like, literally side by side the stroller, it's a nice little setup we got, because I have a little bit of what people like to call the scary dog privilege. They're not scary, but they definitely will growl if you get a little too close or come at me or something like that. Thankfully, it's not an issue because I can call them off if needs be. They make good bodyguards for sure. But overall, I think that's probably one of the best parts of my day is just being able to go out for stroller walks. So definitely I understand what that girl is talking about, and I wish that upon her that she gets to have that in her near future because it's honestly game-changing. I thought I was weirdly happy being pregnant and going on walks with the dogs, but it's so much more fun when you have a cute little baby, and every single day that he's looking around, he becomes a little bit more self-aware, and I can point out birds and ducks and stuff to him, and he loves it. But when it does come to hot mom walks, I think things get a little bit more strategic once you have a kid, because you have to worry about all weather conditions for your child. Obviously, there's something to say when you're moving around and walking and keeping yourself warm. However, you have to make sure that your child is not too hot, not too cold. He is now at the age of snacks are essential, so I have to prep a snack. I need to make sure he's not going to get sunburned, whether his legs are covered or not. Making sure I'm not going to get sunburned, because wearing sunscreen, usually we'll have to walk at a time where the sun's pretty intense, and so that's kind of a bummer. Not to mention strategically wearing an outfit for myself to make sure I'm not sweating, especially if we were need to go fast. Usually it's wearing shorts, etc., of course. But of course, that's also another entertaining thing when it comes to working out. Once you start working out, you go through so much more laundry and clothes. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. And then to add to the schedule that I live, so as I told you, in the morning, I'll usually wear like leggings or something because it's cooler. And then I'll come home and shower. And then later, I go on an afternoon walk and I'll wear shorts. So that's another workout outfit. Not to mention the outfits before and after. And yes, sometimes I'll do a second shower of the day. It's kind of crazy, but depending on the day. If it's like a super sweaty day, like it's hot outside, then yes, definitely. And sometimes it works out well because it can strategically bathe my child around the same time as well. So it works well. So yeah, a lot more laundry overall. As for, I was just thinking about when at the actual gym, something I wanted to share was for a little gym hack for me. I think this is definitely a female thing because I don't really see too many guys walking around wearing these. Maybe just when they're, I don't know. Anyway, wearing the weightlifting gloves, like the little small fingerless gloves. I mean, some of them have fingers, I guess, but that protect your hands for lifting weights, or if you're doing kind of RDLs, I don't know what people do. That's like all the official things that I don't actually do. Fun fact, I am a machine girly through and through. I'll be using the leverage machine for weightlifting because, one, I don't want to get trapped underneath some bar and like have my knees buckle. Like I had mentioned before, I have bad knees. Apparently. So I just like to stick with basics. Once upon a time, I heard from some serious weightlifter that it's kind of an uncommon or a myth that you have to switch around your exercises, that you need to switch it up and do different things, which don't get me wrong, like yes, you can, it will target different muscle groups, but overall, like for just kind of gaining muscle and fitness, like you're okay doing the same stuff over and over again. Like, so for me, those leverage machines are chef's kiss because am not going to get trapped underneath some huge metal bar or roll my ankle and drop something. I don't know. I sound like I'm very clumsy, which I guess I am a little bit. But with that being said, something that happened literally 2 weeks ago, very laughable because it happened in a leverage machine. So, long story short, it was a leg day, and I was doing that using the machine that presses down on like your thighs, and then you're using your two legs and bending them, and it's working your tops of your thighs, I guess. Like if I pulled up a picture, it would be more explaining, helpful wise. But anyway, long story short is I had not used like this one machine in a long time, and so I thought it was one machine, which it was that same kind, but they replaced it with a different version of the machine, and so it didn't like all I could say is load properly. And so when you get in the machine, you have to make the adjustments based on how tall you are, etc. this one was like different. And so with the other machine that is its twin, but a different version, it would be easy to kind of pressurize the weight on my thighs so that it would make it so I wouldn't move, which is good because it would hold me taut is the word, when I would be bending my legs and doing the workout part. And so, but on that machine that worked well, I could push down on the pad a little further and then it would release. However, on this other machine, it didn't have that like elasticity, I guess, to be able to do that. And so I had sat down in the machine, pushed it down all the way, did my exercise, and because I'm using a pretty high weight, what I'm used to doing, slash pushing myself a little bit, I went to go do the release and push down a little bit, push like a millimeter down to then release it. It wouldn't release. And I am tired. Like my legs are about to collapse pretty much, but they're in this locked and rigid state. And normally I could push it the top of this pad. I'll have to add a picture because it makes it more understandable, I guess. And normally I can get out, and I, at this point, was stuck in the machine. And this was at probably 5 a.m. at this point because I'd been there for a while. And I was very scared, very embarrassed, everything in between. I was just kind of looking around side to side, like, one, I hope no one can see that I am visibly stuck. Two, I hope that they can't tell on my face that I am slightly paranoid because I just don't want that attention. Like, I've seen those gym videos where people get stuck or get flipped upside down or whatever with cables. I don't know. And people always are there, like, and they'll go help them. But mine is so awkward because it wasn't like a freak thing. I completely put it upon myself that I accidentally put this pad too tight. And I thought there was going to be a little bit of a give where I could release it, but there wasn't because just the specific, I don't know, machine, I guess, was built different. And so terrifying. My legs are just dying. They're on fire. And normally I can release them and then kind of shake them out. But no, they are like rigidly still stuck in this position. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And so like my next thought is, okay, let me just try to wriggle out of the machine sideways, like horizontally, because how the pads work, like I'm like, okay, maybe I can do that. No, I tried, did not work. I am so jam tight stuck in there. And so it was one of the moments, I guess, of, okay, I have to relax every muscle in my body when my muscles are already on fire. And so I'm trying to relax my leg muscles. And so, to be honest, I couldn't tell you how I did it. I think I just got more scared or something and somehow got my legs to really relax. And the kicker is, I'm pretty sure there was a guy behind me using the same machine that I was on, but obviously working. And I'm pretty sure he saw me because I was like sitting there for kind of a ridiculously long time. It was a solid 5 minutes that I was not moving. And I'm pretty sure it was probably telling because my upper half was like frozen in fear. And so anyway, but because I kind of like turned my head with my peripheral vision, saw him kind of like staring at me. Anyway, long story short, I eventually escaped. Thankfully, I didn't have to have any interactions with anyone else. And I now avoid that machine like the plague because I'm terrified of that happening again. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the gym had replaced the old machine with this new one. I don't know if the old one broke. It's kind of typical. They usually do. But yeah, terrified of it. And I am emotionally scared for, I think that was my last leg day because that was pretty recent. And so my next leg day is in like 2 days or so. Obviously, will not be using that machine, and that, I would say, is the only time I've gotten stuck in a machine at the gym. But yeah, besides that, any other embarrassing stories at the gym? Yes, I'm sure there is a lot more. But yeah, so I just realized we were talking about weightlifting gloves. I'm not sure how we got to getting stuck in the machine. But anyway, the weightlifting gloves hack. It's because you're talking about machines. That is my little favorite hack. I think it stems from the part of me that is slightly OCD / the part of me that likes to protect my hands. I am not a fan of getting like mega calluses on my hands. I know that's like kind of a favorite thing for guys, some guys. I hate it. I hate the feeling of it. And so it's a double whammy for me. So when I wear these little weightlifting gloves, or actually it's a triple whammy because people think I'm probably like know what I'm doing and I'm all intense and cool like that. But no, it's really just one. I'm kind of grossed out by that I have to put my hands where literally everyone else put their hands, and I don't like to think about that too deeply because I know a lot of guys don't wash their hands, and maybe some girls don't too, but usually I feel like most of them do. But anyway, so that is my life hack, is that with a lot of the machines, they all have handle grips on them, and so that way I'm not touching with my bare skin. I had like a couple created dancer warts when I was a kid on my feet, which thankfully have been rectified since. But I fear getting one on my hand because I know it's possible. And I've heard some very scary horror stories. So I'm just naturally very kind of paranoid of the gym in general sometimes, but it's a good little hack to wear the little weightlifting gloves. And like I said, triple whammy. You look cool, it keeps your hands clean, and prevents calluses. So that's nice. And then my other favorite little hack is, I posted this on TikTok, which, yeah, go hit me with a follow on there. But I posted a story, I think it was around the New Year's, that a lot of the machines around then or cardio machines were packed because everyone in their New Year's resolutions. But the thing is specifically, I'm sure with other gyms too, but Vasa notoriously has all these signs that are like, sorry, this one's broke, or we're working on it, blah, 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 blah. And so, which is, some of them don't have signs, but they just have like an error message. My favorite gym hack is you literally can just go reset the machine. It's just the big red button. It's a power button that's like on any appliance pretty much. And it's just on the back of it usually. And I've done this so many times specifically with the Stairmaster because I feel like this one's just like casually break a lot. I don't know. They don't break. They just like have a technical error and like the machine freaks out or something. I don't know if it's just because they think the person's coming back. I don't know. But it's a super easy fix. And I feel like so many times the people that are on either side of like the Stairmasters where they think it's the one between them is broke. And then like I walk up so confidently and they're probably in the brand's like, oh, this dumb girl, she's gonna find out soon enough. This one's broke, lol. But then I don't even like go to the top first. I immediately just see the error code and then I just reset it, and then I'd casually put my water bottle down and then get going. And yeah, anyway, little life hack flex for you. But yeah, so that's, I'm trying to think if there's any other hacks. These hacks, of course, are just, work smarter, not harder kind of thing. Not necessarily for working out, which one day maybe. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever be a gym influencer type. I don't know. I like being ignored, believe it or not, which funnily enough, I'm telling it how it is. I was blonde a while back and my natural hair is brunette, lighter brown. When I was blonde, oh my gosh, the attention, which obviously Utah, a lot of girls dye their hair blonde. What I wasn't prepared for is that it was like a deer in the headlights. The men of the gym would be staring just because I was blonde. I wouldn't wear makeup or even mascara or anything or any crazy outfits. Like, just because I was blonde, I noticed a stark difference of just attention. Which, quite honestly, when I had dyed my hair blonde, yeah, you can roll your eyes, be like, oh, she probably wanted the attention. Sure, I was married at this point. So no. I actually just wanted to be blonde because I had never been blonde my entire life. My mom was very strict about dyeing hair growing up, and so I had never dyed my hair, not even highlights, not even any teensy-tiny highlights or anything until after I was married, which that was funny in itself because I had dyed my hair black initially. This was during the pandemic. I got bangs. I didn't give them myself. I got bangs. They looked horrible. They were not the move. They were typical blunt. I tried to go for like the feathery look or whatever. I told the girl to. But they were like ridiculously like large and in charge type of like round bangs. Anyway, they looked weird. That was not the move. But then the joke being is that I decided like, hey, we're gonna go blonde now, which is like the worst thing you can do to your hairstylist, going from black to bright, and it was platinum blonde, keep in mind. I guess we can maybe find a picture and add that too. Not of the dark hair. Those pictures we'll never see to the internet. They were bad. It was not the move for me. At least maybe it was just like the wrong shade of it. I don't know. Definitely don't think I will ever be doing that again. Back to the gym. Blonde, attention. I would prefer to be invisible. And now I happily rock my natural hair. It's been a while going back to brunette and getting the blonde highlights. I literally only have like half an inch left remaining in my hair, which you can't see it. Like if you just look to me, I'm brunette. But there's just tiny, tiny bits of blonde at the ends of my hair. And I want to cut them off, but there's something to say for length as well. And so it's annoying, but it's what we're working with. My last hack would probably be when I was streaming on Twitch. We were talking about some things, and somebody was talking about how they're too scared to go to the gym because kind of a self-conscious thing, which could see, and I can understand that. I would say one of the weirdest hacks is wearing ginormous headphones. It doesn't make sense, but it kind of does. So basically, I wore AirPods for the last, let's say, 6+ years journey. Up until when I was pregnant, my husband was sweet and he got me the Sony XM5 headphones that go over the ears. When I tell you, being pregnant and feeling a little bit more insecure with the fact that I was progressively getting, air quote, fatter while everyone else was in the gym getting skinnier, around that time, very much appreciated that, because this complete difference wearing over-the-ear headphones versus AirPods like still filter in a lot of outside noise, even if you are using noise, whatever it's called, setting. And over the ears, it's just like you're in your own little concert. It's the best thing ever. And somehow I think because you know that you look less approachable too, which I'm not trying to be like not approachable, like feel free to talk to me. It helps you focus on your workout too. You're not, I don't know, I think it's just because it's kind of the opposite of like taking up space, but it's just like, I'm here to work out. Like you will not mistake me for having AirPods in my ears, because I got headphones on, which I guess jumping back to the whole ideology of, the girl's air quote outfit, don't talk to me, I'm at the gym to work out, which is wearing the big over the ear headphones, a hat, a sweatshirt tied around her waist. I think that's like the unofficial official outfit. I can tell you, because when wearing a sweatshirt tied around my waist, that's way too hot temperature wise. I'd get like a big sweatband around where it's tied. And then hats. Hats are a weird topic for me. I love the concept of them, and I would totally probably wear one, except for, once again, it's just gonna make my head even more sweaty. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. To each their own with gym wearing hats. Okay, that, and then I rock an insanely high ponytail. Like, think cheerleading high at the gym. I always have, always will. That ponytail has been with me since probably around like the 4th, 5th, 6th grade. I was a tomboy growing up, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, another episode. But then I took a little sabbatical, I'd say around 8th grade, when I kind of learned how to do my hair. Not well, a little bit better. And so then tried having my hair look a little more girly up from and straightened and whatever from then on. But then for like dance and everything, I still would rock that ponytail. And so as for working out, people have their own things, but it is a high ponytail for me. And so with that being said, hats don't work out very well. And you can say, Haley, they make ponytail hats. They do, but they do not go high enough. So kind of where the button on the top of most hats would be, that's where my ponytail sits. It doesn't work out very well. That's been like a daydream entrepreneur idea for me. So if somebody wants to go ahead and steal that, feel free. I know that there's like hats that have magnets that you can kind of just have your ponytail be. Once again, doesn't work, not high enough, and the magnets wouldn't be like closed all the way, so it looks weird. I don't know. I legit just need a hat with a hole in the top of it at this point. And yeah, I haven't looked recently, I will say. So if somebody has a perfect solution for me here, please DM me, tag me, comment, whatever. I would appreciate it, because even for during the day, not even for the gym, I would love a hat. Okay, to solve my own problem though, I do rock visors. Not at the gym, not during daily wearing, where people would maybe throw on a hat because it's part of the fit or whatever. Because visors, they don't really go with the fit 9 out of 10 times. They look like you're going golfing, tennis, whatever. But I will wear them on my daily walks because I'm already wearing the athletic clothes. So honestly, whenever I am walking, stroller walking or whatever, look like I'm going to go play tennis or pickleball or whatever. I do have 3 visors. It's kind of impressive, I will say. Most people, I would say, maybe would have 1 if they're lucky. But yeah, I have a black one, a white one, and a gray heathered one. Oh, wait, no, I have 4. I forgot. And then I have 1 neutral colored one. Because we were at Shields, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a visor that's like in a neutral color palette, which we prefer in our household. We're not very vibrantly colored people. Our closets, where I'm filming, fun fact, I don't remember if I ever said that, filming in the closet because the acoustics or whatever supposed to be different, and I can hide from people. When I say people, I mean my dogs, and my baby's sleeping, so it's cool. But yeah, so that is, I think, the gist of it. But yeah, we truly have been everywhere today, from gym hacks to hats. But that's enough for today. If you laughed or cried or judging me slightly, that's all right. Please rate the podcast. Give it a little 5-star if you would. Like I said, no one really does give ratings on podcasts these days, so if you can take an extra second to do that out of your day, I would really appreciate it. Share it with your friends. If you know me, no you don't. Yeah, besides that, hit me with a follow on Instagram. Feel free to DM me if you have something to say, a comment, any words of advice, anything at all. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to do some advice sessions as well, so I love giving advice. I have a lot of weird stories and history, I feel like, than the average person. I don't know. And we'll talk about it. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day. See you next time. Bye.